The 6-Week Money Makeover, your no BS roadmap to financial freedom. Written and published by Mindset Masters Audiobooks. Part 1. The Wake-Up Call. Why your money situation isn't a mystery, it's a system. Most people think their financial situation is the result of bad luck, a tough economy, or external forces they can't control. But the truth is far more empowering. Your money is a mirror. It reflects your decisions, your habits, your mindset, and the systems you've built, or failed to build. This first part sets the foundation for your 6-week transformation. Before we can build wealth, we must understand why most people stay stuck in patterns of stress, avoidance, and financial insecurity. Money isn't complicated. The world makes it complicated. This makeover cuts through that noise. Real change requires a turning point. Every financial transformation starts with a moment where you realize things cannot continue the way they are. Maybe you're tired of living paycheck to paycheck. Maybe you're exhausted from the stress of never having enough. Maybe you want freedom, options, stability, and peace. Whatever brought you here, this is your starting point. And from this moment on, you are no longer the person reacting to your money. You're the person directing it. The first truth of financial freedom is simple. Your money problems are not character flaws. They're system flaws. When you fix the system, your results change. This makeover gives you the structure, and you provide the commitment. The mindset breakthrough. Before any strategy works, the mindset behind it must shift. People sabotage their financial growth because they've absorbed beliefs that quietly limit them. I'm just not good with money. I can't save because I don't earn enough. I'll start later. Money is stressful. It's too late for me. These are not facts. These are stories that keep people trapped. Wealth is built by letting go of emotional reactions to money and replacing them with clarity, structure, and intentional behavior. Once you stop seeing money as something that controls you and start seeing it as a tool, everything changes. You're not here to survive financially. You're here to build control. A 6-week transformation works because it is short enough to stay focused but long enough to create lasting behavioral change. Your life won't be the same if you go through this process with honesty and commitment. You're not learning information. You're rewiring your relationship with money. The brutal truth about why most people stay broke. Look around. Most adults are drowning in debt, living for the next paycheck, and hoping something magically improves. It won't. Without a plan, financial stress becomes permanent. People stay broke for a few simple reasons. They don't track their money. They avoid uncomfortable financial truths. They let emotions drive their spending. They have no structured system to manage income. They underestimate how small habits create massive impact over time. They think making more money will solve everything. They delay action until the right time, which never comes. This makeover is built to remove these barriers one by one. You will create clarity, structure, discipline, and momentum, things that wealthy people use naturally. Understand this clearly. Wealth is a behavior, not luck. If you change your behavior, your results must follow. The starting point. Seeing your real money patterns. Before week 1 officially begins, you need to confront where you currently stand. Not your assumptions. Not your feelings. Your reality. The hardest part of financial change is this moment. The moment where everything is laid out in front of you without excuses or filters. Don't skip this. Don't soften it. Don't avoid it. Your transformation starts with honesty. Take note of these core questions. How much do you earn each month? How much do you spend, and where? How much do you owe? How much are you saving consistently? What financial habits keep repeating in your life? What do you avoid financially? What anxieties come up when you think about money? Write the truth. Wealth grows from clarity. This process is not about shame. It's about power. The more honest you are, the faster you improve. Why clarity creates power. The moment you know the truth about your finances, you gain something most people never have, control. You cannot manage what you do not measure. The wealthy track their money because they understand one rule. Money flows where attention goes. If you give your money structure, it obeys. If you ignore it, it disappears. This makeover teaches you to organize your finances the way successful people do, through intentional awareness. You'll learn how to build a simple system that handles the complexity for you. This is not budgeting. This is not restriction. This is design. When your money has a plan, stress drops and confidence rises. No more guessing. No more hoping. No more panic. Just clarity. Understanding the emotional connection. Your financial behavior is emotional long before it becomes logical. Spending, avoiding, impulse buying, delaying, these are not rational behaviors. They are emotional responses to unmet needs, stress, fear, or insecurity. To change financial habits, you must recognize the emotional patterns behind them. Ask yourself, when do I spend the most money? What emotions push me to buy things I don't need? Do I use spending as comfort? Do I avoid looking at my finances because it makes me feel anxious or guilty? Do I chase short-term pleasure at the expense of long-term peace? Your emotions have been running your financial life. Now you take the steering wheel. The shift from consumer to creator. Financially struggling people think like consumers. Wealth builders think like creators. Consumers ask, what can I buy? Creators ask, what can I build? Consumers chase pleasure. Creators chase freedom. Consumers think about today. Creators think about the next decade. This transformation will shift you from consuming to creating. When you begin acting like the architect of your financial life instead of a spectator, everything sharpens. Your discipline, your choices, your focus, your goals. The power of systemized money. You don't rise to the level of your financial goals. You rise to the level of your financial systems. Most people want money but don't have systems. They want freedom but don't have structure. This is why people make more money and still end up broke. Income doesn't change behavior. Systems do. This makeover teaches the same structure that financially successful people use. Automated saving. Automated investing. Pre-planned spending. Protected financial priorities. Minimal emotional decision-making. Once your money is systemized, discipline stops being a battle. Your results become predictable, and your progress becomes measurable. Owning your future. This part serves one purpose, to make you realize financial freedom is built, not wished for. You don't stumble into wealth. You construct it. And you're fully capable of doing that. You're not here by accident. You're here because something inside you is ready to change. Something inside you is done with stress, done with chaos, done with fear, and ready to build stability, strength, and freedom. The next 6 weeks will require commitment, honesty, and follow-through. You will learn to take control of your habits, develop powerful routines, eliminate financial leaks, and put your money on a path toward growth. But before anything else works, you must step into a new identity, the identity of someone who takes money seriously. You are not becoming wealthy in the future. You are becoming wealthy now, through the choices you make today. Part 2. Week 1. Resetting your financial identity and rebuilding your money foundation. Your transformation begins here. Week 1 is about something more important than earning more or cutting expenses. It's about reshaping the person behind the money. Because the truth is simple, your financial life will never rise above the identity you hold about yourself. If you see yourself as someone who struggles with money, you will continue struggling. If you see yourself as someone capable, disciplined, and in control, your behavior begins to match that identity. This week is about rebuilding the core of who you are financially. Most people try to fix their finances using tactics alone, budgeting apps, side hustles, strict rules, restrictive goals, yet nothing sticks. They bounce between motivation and burnout, clarity and chaos. Why? Because tactics cannot outperform identity. Your identity sets the ceiling for every financial habit you build. When you shift the identity, the habits follow more naturally. Here is the powerful truth. You can redesign who you are with money. Wealthy people aren't born with a special gene. They simply think differently, behave intentionally, and operate with systems that protect their future. You're about to step into that mindset. The identity shift. Start by asking, who am I financially right now? Do I act like someone building wealth, or like someone hoping things magically improve? If you have inconsistent habits, emotional spending patterns, or avoidance around money, your identity has been shaped by survival, not intention. This makeover pushes you out of survival mode. Rewrite your financial identity in clear, grounded terms. You are someone who takes money seriously. You are someone who knows exactly where your money goes. You are someone who saves automatically and invests consistently. You are someone who chooses long-term peace over short-term impulses. You are someone building a stable, wealthy future. When you repeat this identity and act in alignment with it, your financial reality starts shifting. Confidence grows. Discipline grows. Momentum grows. These early changes set the entire 6-week journey in motion, removing the old financial patterns. Before you build new habits, you must understand the old patterns that have been limiting you. These patterns didn't come from laziness or lack of intelligence. They came from routine thinking, spending to feel better, avoiding numbers because they trigger anxiety, or telling yourself that change is too difficult. This week, you break those patterns. Take inventory of the behaviors that have kept your money stuck. This is where honesty matters. Do you overspend when stressed? Do you avoid checking your bank balance? Do you chase short-term pleasures instead of long-term security? Do you delay saving because you're waiting for extra money? Do you tell yourself stories that limit your progress? Awareness is the first step toward replacing these habits with stronger ones. Once you expose the old patterns, they lose their power. The emotional reset. Money carries emotional weight. Fear, shame, regret, frustration. These emotions influence the way you behave, even when you think you're being rational. If you want this makeover to work, you need to reset your emotional relationship with money. Begin with one commitment. Be neutral. Money is not something to fear. Money is not something to obsess over. Money is not something to judge yourself with. Money is simply a tool. When you treat money neutrally, you make clearer decisions, avoid emotional spending, and step into the mindset of someone building wealth long-term. Wealthy people have one advantage: emotional distance. They treat money like a resource, not a reflection of their value. Your emotional reset starts with clarity. You already began assessing your financial patterns in part 1. Now go deeper. Look at your behaviors without guilt. This isn't about blame. It's about understanding. Building the ground-level financial snapshot. This week, you construct the financial snapshot that will guide the next 6 weeks. You need the full truth: your income, your expenses, your debts, and your assets. The snapshot isn't meant to overwhelm you. It's meant to empower you. When everything is in front of you, your mind relaxes. You stop guessing. You stop fearing the unknown. Here's what your snapshot includes: your monthly income, your total monthly spending, your fixed expenses, your variable expenses, your debt balances with interest rates, your current savings, your current investments, if any, your financial commitments. This is your starting point. Don't skip this step or rush through it. Every great turnaround begins with clarity. Once you see the numbers, you'll know exactly where you stand and how far you can go. Your first wealth-building rule: money must have purpose. Financial stress grows when money has no purpose. When your income enters your account without direction, it gets pulled into impulse purchases, convenient spending, and emotional reactions. Wealth builders assign purpose to every shilling, every dollar, every cent. Nothing floats around uncontrolled. This week, assign a clear purpose to your income. How much will go to your essentials? How much will go to your savings? How much will go to your future investments? How much will go to your lifestyle spending? How much will go to debt reduction? Once your money has a job, you remove chaos. You remove guilt. You remove indecision. Purpose replaces stress with structure. The power of automation. Successful people don't rely on willpower. They rely on systems that run automatically. Automation is your first real breakthrough. It removes emotions from your financial choices. When saving is automated, you don't negotiate with yourself. When investing is automated, you don't hesitate. Automation protects your future from your mood, your impulses, and your excuses. This week, begin planning your automations. Automatic savings every payday. Automatic transfers to investment accounts. Automatic payments on essential bills. The goal is to make wealth building effortless. You'll build the full automation system later in the program, but this early planning primes your mind for it. The shift from avoidance to ownership. Avoidance is one of the biggest barriers to financial success. People avoid looking at their bank balance, avoid tracking spending, avoid confronting debt, avoid acknowledging bad habits. But avoidance builds financial blindness, and financial blindness leads to chaos. This week, you choose ownership. Ownership means looking at your money daily without fear. Ownership means accepting your mistakes and learning from them. Ownership means treating your financial future like something you control. Ownership means understanding that every decision matters. When you shift from avoidance to ownership, your stress begins to fade because knowledge replaces fear. Designing your financial vision. You cannot transform your finances without a destination. This week, you create the vision that will guide your decisions. This vision is bigger than goals. It's the future lifestyle you're building. What does financial freedom look like for you? Not for the world. Not for social media. For you. Ask yourself. What does your ideal money situation look like in 1 year? How much do you want saved? How much debt do you want gone? What financial habits do you want to master? What kind of peace, confidence, and control do you want to feel? This vision becomes your internal compass. When temptations arise, when doubts appear, this vision keeps you grounded. Building Week 1 habits. Week 1 isn't about perfection. It's about structure. These habits create your foundation. You check your finances daily for 2 minutes. You track every expense without judgment. You assign purpose to your money. You begin your automation plan. You journal your financial identity each morning. These actions are small, but they're powerful. They begin rewiring your behavior. They build discipline. They build clarity. They build momentum. By the end of Week 1, you won't be the same person who started this journey. You'll think differently. You'll behave differently. You'll feel different inside. You'll realize something life-changing. Financial freedom is not complicated. It's systematic. You're no longer someone hoping for change. You're someone building it. Part 3. Week 2. Mastering the psychology of spending and breaking the cycle of money leaks. Week 2 is about taking control of the behaviors that drain your income, limit your growth, and sabotage your future. Last week, you reshaped your financial identity and built clarity around your numbers. Now you shift to your day-to-day spending habits. Most people never build wealth not because they earn too little, but because they unconsciously leak money in ways they barely notice. Wealth is created by intention. Poverty is created by unconscious habits. This week transforms unconscious spending into strategic, disciplined action. The truth about spending. Spending is emotional, not logical. If money were purely logical, everyone would save, invest, and avoid debt. But people don't make decisions with logic. They make them with mood, stress, boredom, guilt, or desire for comfort. Your goal this week is to understand the emotional triggers behind your spending and disconnect your money from emotional impulses. Ask yourself honestly. Do you spend more when stressed? Do you shop to distract yourself from uncomfortable feelings? Do you buy things to feel in control when life feels chaotic? Do you spend to impress others? Do you buy small items often without noticing how they add up? Understanding these patterns is the first step toward controlling them. You're not trying to remove all enjoyment from life. You're learning to stop leaking money in ways that cost you your future. The 3 spending personas. All spending behavior falls into 3 personas. Identifying your persona helps you predict your weaknesses and design systems that protect you. The reactor. The reactor spends in the moment and thinks later. When the mood hits, they buy. When something stressful happens, they spend to escape. When something exciting happens, they spend to celebrate. This leads to inconsistency, surprise bills, and regrets. The nurturer. The nurturer overspends on others. They buy gifts or treat people to meals because it feels good, even when it sabotages their own stability. Their generosity is genuine, but it becomes self-destructive when it damages their savings or increases debt. The avoider. The avoider doesn't want to look at numbers. They spend without tracking, hoping things will work out. They don't check their balances or statements. They avoid budgeting tools. They make money decisions by guessing, not knowing. Most people have a combination of these personas. Once you understand yours, you'll know where your financial leaks come from. Identifying your money leaks. Money leaks are small, repeated expenses you barely notice but that drain your long-term potential. A daily convenience. A subscription you forgot. Impulse purchases on food or clothing. Emotional spending. These leaks are silent, but they're powerful. Your task this week is simple. Find them. For the next 7 days, track everything. Not to restrict yourself but to observe yourself. Tracking shines light on your leaks. Once identified, they become easy to fix. Look for these categories. Convenience purchases that add up. Delivery fees and impulse takeout. Subscriptions you no longer use. Transport habits that cost more than necessary. Repeated impulse shopping. Unnecessary upgrades. Lifestyle choices built on emotion instead of value. People often think big mistakes keep them broke, but it's the many small decisions made without awareness that drain them the most. Rewriting your spending patterns. Once you identify your leaks, you replace them with intentional habits. You shift from emotional spending to value-based spending. You stop asking, "Do I want this right now?" and start asking, "Does this support my future?" That one shift elevates your financial maturity. Here are the principles for rewriting your spending patterns. Spend slowly. Pause before purchasing. Wealthy people rarely buy instantly. They think. They compare. They decide with purpose. Spend on long-term value. Ask whether the purchase gives lasting benefit or disappears in 24 hours. If it doesn't add lasting value, reconsider. Spend according to identity, not mood. If your identity is someone building financial freedom, your purchases must reflect that. Spend with awareness. You track. You observe. You choose. Spending becomes intentional, not reactive. These principles sound simple, but applying them creates a powerful psychological shift toward discipline. Building your no BS spending system. This week you construct a simple but strong spending framework. It's not a budget in the traditional sense. Budgets often fail because they feel restrictive. This is a spending system built around freedom, clarity, and consistency. The 3-account system. Account 1. Essentials. This handles your life requirements. Rent, transport, utilities, food, phone, internet, and other non-negotiables. Account 2. Wealth building. This includes automated savings, investing contributions, and debt reduction payments. Account 3. Personal lifestyle. This is for enjoyment, social life, entertainment, buying what you want. But it has a ceiling. When this account runs out, you stop spending. The power of this structure is that it protects your future while giving you freedom. You're not trapped by a restrictive budget. You're guided by intentional systems. The power of pre-commitment. Pre-commitment is the decision to choose your future self over your current mood. When you automate contributions to savings and investments, you're pre-committing. When you put money into your lifestyle account and stick to it, you're pre-committing. When you assign purpose to every dollar before the month begins, you remove decision fatigue. You're building a disciplined system that doesn't rely on motivation. Motivation fades. Systems endure. Breaking the impulse loop. Impulse spending follows a predictable pattern. Trigger thought, urge, purchase, regret. You break this loop by inserting a delay between urge and purchase. Pause. Ask what emotion triggered the urge. Ask whether the purchase serves your identity. Wait 24 hours. Re-evaluate. This alone can save you hundreds each month. The spending audit. At the end of this week, you conduct a spending audit. You're not judging yourself. You're studying yourself. You review your tracked expenses. You identify leaks. You calculate how much money slipped through your fingers. Then you reclaim that money through systems, not willpower. This audit is your financial honesty tool. Wealth builders face their numbers. They don't escape them. Week 2 habits. Check your expenses daily. Slow down your purchases. Use your 3-account system. Track your emotions when you spend. Audit your money leaks. Assign a weekly lifestyle allowance. Journal your decisions to reinforce identity. By the end of week 2, your spending will no longer be unconscious. You'll begin operating from intention rather than impulse. This shift alone can change your entire financial trajectory. You are learning to control your money instead of letting money control you. Part 4. Week 3. Building the foundation of your freedom fund and learning the discipline of saving with purpose. Week 3 takes you deeper into the structure of wealth. In week 1 you built clarity and identity. In week 2 you gained control over spending and emotional triggers. This week you begin shaping the one element that transforms financial chaos into stability. Your freedom fund. Your freedom fund is not just a savings account. It is the emotional and psychological buffer that creates power, options, and peace of mind. Most people live in permanent financial stress because they have nothing standing between them and unexpected life events. One emergency, an accident, a medical issue, a job loss, a broken device, an urgent family need, can push them into panic, credit card dependence, or survival mode. Wealthy people protect themselves from this trap by building a financial shield. This week is about building yours. Why a freedom fund matters more than motivation. You cannot build wealth while living in fear. Fear forces short-term decisions. Fear pushes you toward debt. Fear weakens discipline. When there is no financial cushion, you operate from desperation instead of strategy. A freedom fund breaks that cycle. It gives you breathing room. It keeps you from panic spending. It saves you from destructive borrowing. It gives you confidence to make long-term choices. It allows you to stop reacting and start planning. A financially stressed mind cannot think long-term. A financially protected mind can. Where most people go wrong. Most people believe they can start investing without first building a foundation. This is why they get discouraged. They enter the market excited, but the moment an emergency hits, they pull out their investments, lose progress, and feel like they have failed. A house cannot stand without a foundation. A long-term plan cannot survive without a buffer. A wealth journey cannot begin on unstable ground. Your freedom fund is the foundation that allows everything else to grow. The 3 levels of your freedom fund. To make this simple and achievable, your freedom fund grows in stages. You do not build 6 months of savings overnight. You build it gradually, with clear milestones. Level 1. The stability buffer. This is your first milestone. Your goal is to save $1,000 or the equivalent baseline amount in your local currency. It is not meant to cover every emergency but to stop small events from becoming crises. This level gives you safety from minor setbacks. Level 2. The security reserve. This milestone protects you from moderate emergencies. The goal is 1 month of your total living expenses saved. This gives you breathing room. It gives you options. It gives you time to figure things out without panic creeping in. Level 3. The peace fund. This is the strongest version of your freedom fund. It holds 3 to 6 months of your living expenses. This amount changes your emotional life. It changes how you approach risks. It changes the confidence you bring into decisions. People with this level of savings make better financial choices because they are not reacting to fear. You do not chase all 3 levels at once. You reach them one at a time, with structure and discipline. Making saving automatic. The greatest enemy of saving is the illusion that you will do it later. Later becomes next week. Next week becomes next month. Next month becomes next year. The wealthy do not rely on memory, motivation, or mood to save. They automate their consistency. Your savings must be automatic. It must happen before you see the money. It must happen before spending decisions begin. Automation transforms discipline into a default, not a struggle. When your savings contribution leaves your income automatically, your brain adjusts to the new available amount. You do not feel deprived because you never touch the money in the first place. Automation turns a desire into a habit. A habit turns into a system. A system builds wealth even when motivation fades. The saving ratio that actually works. Saving a random amount rarely leads anywhere. You need a clear percentage that aligns with your income, your responsibilities, and your goals. Wealth builders assign a ratio to their income and follow it consistently. A strong saving ratio follows this philosophy. Start small, but start aggressively enough to feel the shift. For some people, this means beginning with 5% of income. Others can handle 10%. If you have flexible expenses or high income, begin with 15%. Your freedom fund is not built from occasional saving. It is built from consistent saving at a defined ratio. If you cannot save 10% today, start with 1% and increase it each month until you reach your target. Growth beats perfection. Momentum beats intensity. When you improve your ratio gradually, discipline becomes effortless, replacing the leftover mindset. Most people live with the leftover mindset. They save whatever remains after spending. This guarantees financial struggle because spending will always expand to eliminate the leftover. Wealthy people flip the formula. They save first, spend second. Your new formula is simple. Income minus saving contribution equals available spending. This is the mindset shift that changes everything. breaking emotional resistance to saving. Some people struggle to save because they feel deprived. They associate saving with losing comfort today. But saving is not a sacrifice. It is a trade. You trade small pleasures today for massive freedom tomorrow. To break the emotional resistance, ask, does this small discomfort now give me a better life later? Does this choice support the version of me I want to become? Does spending now help my identity or hurt it? Saving is emotional maturity in action. It is choosing strength over impulse. It is choosing future power over temporary comfort. The 48-hour rule for large purchases. This week you also learn a strategy that wealthy people use to avoid sabotaging their freedom fund. Before any large purchase, regardless of how badly you want it, wait 48 hours. Impulse fades. Logic rises. You see the purchase clearly. This delay often leads to one of three realizations. You did not actually need it. You wanted it emotionally, not practically. You can delay it until after building your foundation. This simple waiting habit protects your progress better than any budgeting method. Your saving identity. To sustain long-term discipline, you connect saving to your identity. You are not someone who is trying to save. You are someone who saves because it aligns with who you are becoming. Identity drives action. Action shapes repeated behavior. Behavior creates financial reality. Every time you add money to your freedom fund, you reinforce your identity as someone who chooses discipline over impulse. Week 3 habits. Automate your savings. Assign a specific saving percentage. Build level 1 of your freedom fund. Avoid impulse purchases through the 48-hour rule. Track your contributions. Revisit your income and ensure saving comes first. Repeat identity-based affirmations around discipline. By the end of week 3, you will feel a shift. You will feel grounded. You will feel protected. You will feel in control. This momentum prepares you for week 4, where you begin transitioning from stability into growth. Part 4. Week 3. Building the foundation of your freedom fund and learning the discipline of saving with purpose. Week 3 takes you deeper into the structure of wealth. In week 1 you built clarity and identity. In week 2 you gained control over spending and emotional triggers. This week you begin shaping the one element that transforms financial chaos into stability: your freedom fund. Your freedom fund is not just a savings account. It is the emotional and psychological buffer that creates power, options, and peace of mind. Most people live in permanent financial stress because they have nothing standing between them and unexpected life events. One emergency, an accident, a medical issue, a job loss, a broken device, an urgent family need, can push them into panic, credit card dependence, or survival mode. Wealthy people protect themselves from this trap by building a financial shield. This week is about building yours. Why a freedom fund matters more than motivation. You cannot build wealth while living in fear. Fear forces short-term decisions. Fear pushes you toward debt. Fear weakens discipline. When there is no financial cushion, you operate from desperation instead of strategy. A freedom fund breaks that cycle. It gives you breathing room. It keeps you from panic spending. It saves you from destructive borrowing. It gives you confidence to make long-term choices. It allows you to stop reacting and start planning. A financially stressed mind cannot think long-term. A financially protected mind can. Where most people go wrong. Most people believe they can start investing without first building a foundation. This is why they get discouraged. They enter the market excited, but the moment an emergency hits, they pull out their investments, lose progress, and feel like they have failed. A house cannot stand without a foundation. A long-term plan cannot survive without a buffer. A wealth journey cannot begin on unstable ground. Your freedom fund is the foundation that allows everything else to grow. The 3 levels of your freedom fund. To make this simple and achievable, your freedom fund grows in stages. You do not build 6 months of savings overnight. You build it gradually, with clear milestones. Level 1. The stability buffer. This is your first milestone. Your goal is to save $1,000 or the equivalent baseline amount in your local currency. It is not meant to cover every emergency but to stop small events from becoming crises. This level gives you safety from minor setbacks. Level 2. The security reserve. This milestone protects you from moderate emergencies. The goal is 1 month of your total living expenses saved. This gives you breathing room. It gives you options. It gives you time to figure things out without panic creeping in. Level 3, the Peace Fund. This is the strongest version of your Freedom Fund. It holds 3 to 6 months of your living expenses. This amount changes your emotional life. It changes how you approach risks. It changes the confidence you bring into decisions. People with this level of savings make better financial choices because they are not reacting to fear. You do not chase all 3 levels at once. You reach them one at a time, with structure and discipline. Making saving automatic. The greatest enemy of saving is the illusion that you will do it later. Later becomes next week. Next week becomes next month. Next month becomes next year. The wealthy do not rely on memory, motivation, or mood to save. They automate their consistency. Your savings must be automatic. It must happen before you see the money. It must happen before spending decisions begin. Automation transforms discipline into a default, not a struggle. When your savings contribution leaves your income automatically, your brain adjusts to the new available amount. You do not feel deprived because you never touch the money in the first place. Automation turns a desire into a habit. A habit turns into a system. A system builds wealth even when motivation fades. The saving ratio that actually works. Saving a random amount rarely leads anywhere. You need a clear percentage that aligns with your income, your responsibilities, and your goals. Wealth builders assign a ratio to their income and follow it consistently. A strong saving ratio follows this philosophy. Start small, but start aggressively enough to feel the shift. For some people, this means beginning with 5% of income. Others can handle 10%. If you have flexible expenses or high income, begin with 15%. Your Freedom Fund is not built from occasional saving. It is built from consistent saving at a defined ratio. If you cannot save 10% today, start with 1% and increase it each month until you reach your target. Growth beats perfection. Momentum beats intensity. When you improve your ratio gradually, discipline becomes effortless, replacing the leftover mindset. Most people live with the leftover mindset. They save whatever remains after spending. This guarantees financial struggle because spending will always expand to eliminate the leftover. Wealthy people flip the formula. They save first, spend second. Your new formula is simple. Income minus saving contribution equals available spending. This is the mindset shift that changes everything. Breaking emotional resistance to saving. Some people struggle to save because they feel deprived. They associate saving with losing comfort today. But saving is not a sacrifice. It is a trade. You trade small pleasures today for massive freedom tomorrow. To break the emotional resistance, ask, does this small discomfort now give me a better life later? Does this choice support the version of me I want to become? Does spending now help my identity or hurt it? Saving is emotional maturity in action. It is choosing strength over impulse. It is choosing future power over temporary comfort. The 48-hour rule for large purchases. This week you also learn a strategy that wealthy people use to avoid sabotaging their Freedom Fund. Before any large purchase, regardless of how badly you want it, wait 48 hours. Impulse fades. Logic rises. You see the purchase clearly. This delay often leads to one of 3 realizations. You did not actually need it. You wanted it emotionally, not practically. You can delay it until after building your foundation. This simple waiting habit protects your progress better than any budgeting method. Your saving identity. To sustain long-term discipline, you connect saving to your identity. You are not someone who is trying to save. You are someone who saves because it aligns with who you are becoming. Identity drives action. Action shapes repeated behavior. Behavior creates financial reality. Every time you add money to your Freedom Fund, you reinforce your identity as someone who chooses discipline over impulse. Week 3 habits. Automate your savings. Assign a specific saving percentage. Build level 1 of your Freedom Fund. Avoid impulse purchases through the 48-hour rule. Track your contributions. Revisit your income and ensure saving comes first. Repeat identity-based affirmations around discipline. By the end of week 3, you will feel a shift. You will feel grounded. You will feel protected. You will feel in control. This momentum prepares you for week 4, where you begin transitioning from stability into growth. Part 5. Week 3. Upgrade your money system so it runs automatically. If the first 2 weeks of this makeover are about awareness and control, Week 3 is about transformation through systems. This is the turning point where your finances stop relying on motivation and start relying on structure. Discipline becomes easier because the environment does the heavy lifting. Money flows where it is designed to flow. Habits trigger themselves. Progress becomes consistent instead of random. This is the week where people go from thinking about change to locking in change. Once these systems are built, your financial future becomes steadier and predictable. This is the moment where chaos turns into order. The wealthy live by systems. The struggling live by effort. The wealthy automate habits. The struggling improvise. The wealthy rely on structure. The struggling rely on motivation. You cannot trust motivation. It disappears under stress, boredom, or distraction. What you can trust is a process that runs even when you are tired, busy, or overwhelmed. This week creates that process. The goal is simple. Remove willpower from your financial decisions. If you have to think about saving or investing every month, it will eventually break. Life will get busy and financial progress will stop. But if saving and investing happen automatically, even while you are sleeping, you will build wealth whether you feel motivated or not. That is the power of automation. Below is the step-by-step blueprint for this week. Automate every bill you can. Every late fee you pay is money lost, energy wasted, and stress added. Automating payments is one of the fastest ways to take mental pressure off your life. Set your major bills to auto-pay through your bank. This includes utilities, subscriptions you want to keep, and any recurring expense that is predictable. This does 2 things. First, it prevents late payments that can harm your credit score. Second, it gives you a clearer view of what money you consistently need each month. Without clarity, money leaks go unseen. With automation, you see the exact skeleton of your financial life. Review your subscriptions. Subscriptions drain more wealth than most people realize. The small ones look harmless, but together they form a quiet monthly leak. Review each subscription and answer one question. Does this add enough value to justify the cost? If the answer is no, cancel it without guilt. Reducing expenses is not about living cheaply. It is about living intentionally. Build a zero-stress bill calendar. A bill calendar is simple. List every recurring bill, its amount, and its due date. Place it somewhere you can see it often or save it on your phone with reminders. Even when your bills are automated, the calendar gives you awareness. Systems do not replace awareness, they support it. This calendar removes the stress of surprise bills and helps you understand your monthly rhythm. Wealth grows faster when you eliminate financial surprises. Automate your savings. This is the cornerstone of Week 3. You want money to move into savings before you ever touch it. Even a small automatic transfer is powerful. The number matters less at the beginning. The consistency is what builds the habit. When money moves automatically, you stop negotiating with yourself. You stop deciding every time whether you should save. The system decides for you. This alone separates people who build wealth from those who hope for it. Split your savings into categories. Instead of one general savings account, break your savings into clear purposes. Emergency fund. Opportunity fund. Major purchases. Travel. This removes the feeling of I do not want to touch my savings, because each account has its own purpose. When savings have names, you save more and spend better. Start building your emergency fund. Your emergency fund is financial protection. It shields your life from sudden disruptions that would otherwise wipe out your progress. Start with 1 month of expenses and aim for 3 to 6 months. This is not built in 1 week, but it begins now. A strong emergency fund changes how you walk through life. You no longer live in fear of one unexpected problem. You operate from confidence instead of anxiety. Automate your investment contributions. If your goal is long-term wealth, automatic investing is non-negotiable. Whether you use a brokerage account or another platform, automate a small weekly or monthly contribution. Consistency beats timing. Even if your amount feels tiny, the habit is what matters at this stage. You can increase it later. An automated investor builds wealth quietly and steadily. A reactive investor swings between enthusiasm and avoidance. You want to be the first. Use a money hub. A money hub is the primary account through which all income flows and all bills are paid. From this hub, money spreads into your savings, investments, and spending accounts. This structure removes confusion. It lets you instantly know what money is available, what is reserved, and what is growing. Most financial stress comes from not knowing where money stands. A money hub eliminates that. Create a fun spending account. Financial discipline is not about restricting joy. It is about giving joy a boundary. A fun spending account protects your financial goals from impulse purchases while still allowing you to enjoy your life. When pleasure has a budget, you can enjoy it without guilt. When pleasure is unregulated, it destroys progress. Remove your financial triggers. Everyone has triggers that lead to unnecessary spending. Some people overspend when they are sad, bored, or stressed. Others overspend when they see ads or when they browse stores without purpose. Identify your triggers. Remove or reduce exposure where possible. This step protects you from predictable financial mistakes. Simplify your financial tools. Too many apps, too many accounts, too many tools create confusion and overwhelm. Choose one budgeting app, one savings hub, and one investment platform unless you have advanced needs. Simplicity keeps you consistent. Complexity keeps you stuck. Track your progress weekly. You do not need to track every purchase. You need to track the impact of your system. Review once a week. Check your savings growth. Review your investments. Confirm that your automation is running smoothly. Small weekly reviews prevent big financial mistakes. This habit alone will save you thousands over your lifetime. Start building your personal finance dashboard. A simple document or note where you list your accounts, balances, goals, automated transfers, and due dates. This dashboard gives you clarity. Clarity reduces anxiety. Anxiety leads to emotional spending. Financial clarity creates calm. The more you see your progress, the more motivated you become. Eliminate friction from good financial habits. The harder it is to save or invest, the less likely you are to keep doing it. The easier it is to save or invest, the more likely it becomes automatic. Remove friction by setting up shortcuts, enabling automatic transfers, or scheduling regular reminders. You want the path to wealth to be as smooth as possible. Expect growing pains. When you build new financial systems, the first week may feel unfamiliar. That is normal. Do not confuse discomfort with a mistake. Discomfort is part of growth. The more consistent you stay, the more natural this system will feel. Soon you will reach a point where you do not remember how you lived without this structure. The purpose of week 3 is simple. Build an environment where wealth is the default outcome. Not luck. Not motivation. Not discipline. A system. A structure. A design that leads you forward even on your worst days. When your money system is strong, you no longer need to work harder. You only need to let the system run. And as long as you continue improving it, your financial life will keep expanding. When the foundation is solid, the possibilities grow fast. Part 7. Week 4. Eliminate debt the smart, fast, and emotionally sustainable way. Debt is one of the biggest barriers between where you are financially and where you want to be. It traps your income, drains your energy, and quietly steals your future choices. The goal of week 4 is not only to eliminate debt, but to eliminate the mental weight that comes with it. Debt is not just a financial burden. It is an emotional anchor. When you clear it, you gain clarity, confidence, and control over your entire financial life. Debt elimination works best when you use a system, not emotion. Emotion leads to avoidance or frustration. A system leads to consistent progress. This week gives you a clear structure to remove debt quickly without burning out or feeling overwhelmed. You are not here to feel ashamed of past decisions. You are here to build a better future. Debt freedom is not about punishment. It is about recovery. It is about reclaiming ownership over your life. What matters most is the direction you choose right now. Start with a full debt inventory. You cannot fix what you cannot see. List every debt you have: credit cards, personal loans, mobile financing plans, car loans, student loans, anything that requires repayment. For each debt, write the balance, interest rate, and minimum monthly payment. This step gives you a clear picture of your financial battlefield. Debt grows quietly when it stays in the shadows. When you put everything on paper, you remove its power. Choose your repayment strategy: avalanche or snowball. There are 2 proven debt elimination methods. One is mathematically optimal. The other is emotionally optimal. Both work. The key is choosing the one that keeps you consistent. The avalanche method focuses on the highest interest rate first. This saves the most money in the long run. The snowball method focuses on the smallest balance first. This builds motivation and early wins. The wealthy prioritize math. The struggling often need emotional momentum. You need whichever method keeps you consistent without quitting. If you know you stay committed with emotional wins, choose snowball. If you are disciplined enough to stay the course, choose avalanche. Design your debt attack budget. Take the free money you uncovered in weeks 1 to 3 and focus it on the debt you are targeting first. This is your attack budget. Even a small amount makes a huge difference when applied consistently. Every shilling or dollar you put toward debt increases your freedom, reduces your stress, and speeds up your financial growth. Your attack budget should be automatic. Set automatic transfers if possible. When extra money flows to debt without requiring effort, progress becomes steady instead of sporadic. Stop creating new debt. This may sound obvious, but many people try to pay off debt while still using credit for daily spending. This creates a cycle where progress is erased every month. The goal this week is to break that cycle completely. Shift to a debit-only approach for spending. Use cash if you must, especially for categories where you tend to overspend. When you stop adding new debt, the repayment process becomes dramatically faster. Renegotiate interest rates. This is one of the fastest ways to accelerate your debt payoff, and most people never try. Contact your lenders and request a lower interest rate. Explain that you are committed to repayment. Many lenders are willing to adjust your rate to keep you as a customer. Small reductions in interest save you huge amounts long-term. Refinance or consolidate carefully. Debt consolidation can simplify your financial life by turning many payments into one. But it is only helpful if the new interest rate is lower and the repayment timeline does not stretch too far. Some consolidations look helpful but cost more over time. Do not consolidate for convenience alone. Consolidate only when the financial math clearly pushes you toward freedom faster. Avoid high-risk traps. Predatory loans, fast cash apps, and high-interest financing options promise relief but create long-term disaster. Once you fall into them, the climb out becomes steep and painful. Protect your progress by avoiding these traps completely. Build your debt freedom timeline. Once you know your attack budget, interest rates, and repayment order, calculate your timeline. This is the moment where your financial future becomes predictable. You see the finish line clearly. Nothing motivates like seeing the exact month you will be debt-free. Your timeline turns a stressful unknown into a structured plan. Track your progress visually. Create a simple chart or tracker for your debt balances. Watching the numbers fall brings a sense of progress that fuels motivation. The brain loves visual feedback. It makes discipline easier. Choose one sacrifice that speeds up your journey. Debt freedom requires momentum. Choose one small lifestyle adjustment that accelerates your payoff. It could be temporary. It could be minor. But it moves you forward faster. The goal is not suffering. The goal is progress. Every sacrifice today buys your freedom tomorrow. Prepare for the emotional journey. Debt repayment is not just math. It involves frustration, shame, impatience, and sometimes fear. These emotions are normal. What matters is not letting them knock you off your plan. When you feel discouraged, return to your timeline. Return to your tracker. Return to your system. You do not need perfect emotions. You only need consistency. Celebrate your milestones. Every debt you eliminate, no matter how small, is a victory. Celebrate it. The process of celebration builds positive reinforcement. It keeps you going. It makes the journey feel meaningful. The goal of week 4 is not just to reduce debt. It is to build a new relationship with money. A relationship based on intention, clarity, and control. Once you free yourself from debt, the money that was once tied up in interest becomes fuel for your savings, investments, and future wealth. Financial freedom becomes possible because your income stops working for the past and starts working for your future. Part 8. Week 5. Build a simple, automatic, no-stress investment system that actually works. By week 5, 2 things have already begun to change. First, you've gained clarity over where your money goes. Second, you've taken control of debt instead of letting it control you. Now we shift into the part that truly transforms your financial future, building an investment system that grows your money automatically, consistently, and without emotional stress. Investing is not about predicting markets or picking the perfect stock. It is about building a simple, repeatable system that continues working even when you are asleep. Wealth is not created through intensity. It is created through consistency. The goal here is to build an investment structure that works every month without the need for motivation or luck. The wealthy do not rely on impulse. They rely on systems. This week, that becomes your approach too. Start with the mindset shift. Investing is not gambling. It is not guessing. It is the process of owning pieces of companies and industries that grow over time. Historically, the market has risen because businesses become more efficient, innovation expands, populations grow, and profits increase. You are not betting. You are participating in long-term global progress. The most powerful mindset you can adopt is this: wealth is built slowly, predictably, and mathematically through disciplined investing over long periods of time. Fast wealth is fragile. Slow wealth is permanent. Define your investment goal. Clarity gives your money direction. Choose what this investment system is for. You might want long-term wealth, financial freedom, early retirement, or simply a growing safety net. When your goal is clear, you commit longer and avoid emotional decisions when markets fluctuate. Build your emergency buffer first. Before investing aggressively, strengthen your financial foundation. The first 3 to 6 months of expenses belong in a safe, liquid place like a savings account. This cushion protects your investments from being interrupted when unexpected expenses arise. Without it, most people panic and pull investments early. With it, your system remains untouched. Choose your primary investment vehicle. Most successful investors use a small number of simple, proven tools. Broad market index funds, low-cost ETFs, retirement accounts or long-term savings plans, simple automated investing services. These tools balance risk and reward efficiently. They follow the entire market instead of trying to predict which company will win next. This simplicity is not weakness. It is intelligence. The market rewards discipline, not complexity. Avoid high-fee investments. Fees are the silent enemy of wealth. Even small fees compound against you. The difference between a high-fee fund and a low-fee index fund can be hundreds of thousands of dollars over a lifetime. The wealthy obsess over cost efficiency because it preserves their gains. Create your automatic investment pipeline. This is the heart of Week 5. Automation is the reason your system will work. When money is invested automatically every month, you eliminate emotional decision-making. You eliminate procrastination. You eliminate fear-driven avoidance. You guarantee long-term consistency. Your automatic pipeline should follow this flow. Income arrives, a predetermined amount moves into your investment account. That amount is automatically invested in your chosen index fund or ETF. Once this system is built, your wealth grows even when you are busy, tired, or distracted. Your job becomes simple. Continue earning and allow the system to do its work. Decide your monthly investment amount. Even if the amount is small, consistency is more important than size. Wealth is built through continuous contributions, not occasional bursts. Start with an amount you can sustain every month without stress. As your income grows, increase it. The wealthy treat investing as a monthly bill they must pay. You are now adopting the same discipline. Understand risk the right way. Risk does not mean danger. It means fluctuation. Markets rise and fall, sometimes sharply, but long-term growth has always been positive. Emotional investors panic when prices drop. Disciplined investors continue buying during drops, which accelerates their long-term gains. Risk tolerance increases with knowledge. The more familiar you become with investing, the less fear you have during downturns. Education reduces panic. Adopt the long-term perspective. The most powerful advantage you have over the market is time. Compounding turns small, consistent investments into large results. The longer you stay invested, the more compounding works in your favor. Long-term investors almost always outperform traders because they avoid emotional mistakes. Focus on decades, not days. Use a simple diversified structure. You do not need many investments. You need a few strong ones. A typical wealth-building portfolio includes a broad US or global index fund, a bond fund for stability, optional, a regional or sector fund, optional. The wealthy keep their portfolio simple because simplicity removes confusion and errors. Strengthen your discipline during market volatility. Market volatility is the point where most investors fail. They see red numbers, get scared, and withdraw. That decision destroys compounding and locks in losses. Instead, embrace volatility as a normal part of the journey. When prices fall, your automatic investment pipeline buys more shares at a lower cost. This boosts your returns later. This is how disciplined investors create real wealth. Review and adjust once per year. Constant adjustments ruin progress. The system works when you leave it alone. Check in once a year, review your goals, increase your contribution amount if possible, and rebalance if necessary. Otherwise, allow automation and compounding to carry you forward. Avoid speculation and complexity. Cryptos, day trading groups, hot stock tips, overly complex strategies, and algorithmic promises distract beginners and drain their money. Your strength is consistency, not prediction. The investors who win are the ones who stay focused on proven, boring, long-term strategies. Track your growth monthly. Even though you do not manually adjust the system, tracking your progress helps maintain motivation. Watching your investments rise over time reinforces discipline and builds pride in your financial maturity. The goal is not to stare at daily fluctuations. The goal is to observe long-term upward movement. Protect your mindset. The investment journey is psychological. It is normal to feel uncertain or impatient. The key is remembering that wealth comes from repetition, not excitement. Quiet money grows the fastest. Loud money disappears. By the end of week 5, you have built something most people never achieve, a system that grows your wealth without needing willpower or perfect timing. You have taken a major step toward financial freedom because your money is now working for you automatically. Part 9. Week 6. Multiply your income and build your long-term wealth engine. By week 6, your money system is no longer theoretical. It's real. You've reorganized your finances, brought structure to your spending, gained control over debt, and created an automatic investment system that builds wealth every single month. Now comes the part most people skip, misunderstand, or fear: multiplying income. Too many people obsess over cutting expenses instead of growing the top line. Saving money is essential, but there is a ceiling to how much you can save. There is no ceiling to how much you can earn. Wealth accelerates when you increase income while maintaining the discipline you've built over the past 5 weeks. This week is about expanding your earning capacity, building skills that generate lifelong returns, and creating income streams that support your goals long into the future. You are now shifting from financial survival to financial expansion. Start with the mindset shift. Wealth is not built only through smart budgeting. Wealth is built through value creation. The wealthy become wealthy because they solve valuable problems, offer valuable skills, or build valuable systems. You do not need to become a CEO or entrepreneur to embrace value creation. You simply need to increase the economic worth of your time. The key question to ask is, how can I make my time more valuable? Understand your current earning capacity. Your earning capacity is the maximum amount you can reasonably earn today based on your skills, experience, and the demand for what you offer. Most people never question their earning potential because they've internalized fixed-pay thinking. They accept their salary as a final verdict on their value instead of a starting point. This week invites you to challenge that assumption. You can raise your income by improving skills, changing environments, or creating independent income sources. Your earning potential is flexible, not fixed. Upgrade your skills strategically. High-income individuals share a common thread. They are always learning. They constantly upgrade skills that increase their value to employers, clients, or markets. Skill development is the greatest return on investment activity you can commit to. Focus on skills that increase income such as leadership and communication, sales and persuasion, digital literacy, project management, writing and content creation, technical skills in your industry, problem solving and critical thinking. Learning these skills compounds over time. One new skill can multiply your earning power for decades. Increase your value where you currently work. Before jumping to a new job or side project, evaluate your current environment. Can you become more valuable to your employer? Can you take on high-impact projects? Can you improve a process, reduce costs, or increase efficiency? Most people remain invisible because they blend into the status quo. You build leverage when you become the person who solves important problems. Show consistency, initiative, and reliability. These three qualities alone place you in the top 10% of employees in most companies. Master the art of earning more at your primary job. There are three primary ways to increase income at work. Get a raise. Earn a promotion. Move to a higher-paying company or role. However, each of these requires evidence. You must demonstrate measurable contributions. Keep a private record of achievements, improvements you've made, and feedback from coworkers or superiors. This documentation becomes your leverage when negotiating. Understand that companies reward people who ask confidently and who bring value. Silence leads to stagnation. Diversify your income streams. Multiple income streams do not mean juggling 10 hustles. It means adding a secondary income source that operates with low stress, low overhead, and consistent returns. A good secondary income source should align with your interests, strengths, or abilities. Examples include freelancing in your area of expertise, selling digital products, tutoring or coaching, photography or design services, simple online content services, creating niche assets like guides, templates, or tools. The goal is to create something that grows your earning potential without consuming your entire schedule. Use your newfound financial discipline to fuel income growth. Because you've organized your spending and automated your investments, you can now direct more energy toward long-term projects that increase income. You no longer waste mental bandwidth on financial chaos. This clarity frees you to pursue new opportunities with confidence. View skill building and side income as investments rather than burdens. Every hour spent learning or building a project is a seed planted in your future. Your financial makeover becomes a foundation for growth rather than a temporary challenge. Develop your long-term wealth engine. A long-term wealth engine is a combination of a strong primary income, secondary income streams that grow gradually, automated investments that compound, disciplined money habits that prevent backsliding. This engine is designed to grow your wealth whether you actively work or not. When built correctly, it ensures that every year of your life becomes more abundant than the last. Protect your time fiercely. Income growth requires focused time. Set clear blocks in your weekly schedule for learning, building, or improving your professional value. Treat these blocks as sacred. They are your pathway out of financial limitation and toward financial independence. Stop trading your time only for money. One of the most important lessons of high-income earners is learning to disconnect income from hours worked. You achieve this through automation, leveraging technology, selling digital products, building audience-driven assets, creating intellectual property, growing investment capital. Your goal is not to hustle indefinitely. Your goal is to create income sources that scale beyond your daily hours. Build confidence in your earning potential. Many people remain underpaid not because they lack ability, but because they lack belief. Confidence is a skill. The more you learn, build, and apply, the more confident you become. Confidence leads to opportunities, which leads to income, which leads to wealth. The person who believes they can increase their income is already ahead of those who accept their salary as permanent. Set your next income goal. Choose a realistic but ambitious income target. It might be a raise within 6 months, a new qualification within the year, a consistent monthly side income, growing your emergency fund faster, increasing your investment contributions. Your next step should stretch you, not overwhelm you. The goal is progress, not perfection. By the end of week 6, your financial transformation becomes unstoppable. You've built systems, discipline, and long-term wealth habits. Now you are building the income power that fuels a lasting financial legacy.